Good morning. This is Dylan Jovine with Behind the Markets. Happy Friday. Today is Friday, September 12th. And I'll tell you something, TGIF, I am grateful to put this week behind us. What a week. What a week. But we made it to the end of the week together. And I have some good news to start the weekend with because it's been one of those weeks. I have some great news. I love when I see a business that is working on solving a huge, big idea. And I am telling you, there's a private company we're going to have a webinar about next week. Sign up for this. This is a company that is solving a huge idea. It's very special. And let me tell you what I mean. It's a medical problem. So rare diseases are a big deal in this country. It's a $1 trillion a year problem. And I first learned that when my mother started getting lethargic and tired in her 30s, late 30s to mid 40s. She just started getting tired every day. She had an HMO and they put her on that HMO conveyor belt, right? So Dr. 1 doesn't know what's going on. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. Dr. 2 doesn't know what's going on. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. Dr. 3 doesn't know what's going on and on for years. And you maybe have experience with this yourself, where you have something and you go to the doctor doesn't really diagnose it, and they just say, oh, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, try this, try that, and it never really nails it. My mom was on that doctor conveyor belt for 5, 6, 7 years, and it was really messing with her work and everything. And I remember my mom was always very active. She'd come home from work, she'd wake up tired, go to sleep tired, and on Saturdays and Sundays, she'd sleep all day. It really wasn't good. It was not good at all. I was young. I was like, you have cancer, you have this, you have that. It wasn't good. It was frightening for a young person to see their mother, who's vibrant, like this all the time. And again, maybe you have gone through this yourself, where you have this underlying condition, you just don't feel right, and the doctors don't really know what it is. And look, most of these doctors, they're incentivized to get people in and out, and they're overworked and overwhelmed, and I get it. But there are very few doctors who are thinking about you and certainly rare diseases in the way that they need to be thought about. So that's the problem. That costs insurance companies $1 trillion a year. They misdiagnose people, and every time the person goes from doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor, it costs the insurance company money. It's a real problem. And again, it's not like a cancer diagnosis where people say, oh, this is what you have. It's pretty clear. Everybody knows what that is. It's rare diseases. Turns out my mom had Epstein-Barr virus, which led to chronic fatigue syndrome. And she found this out when she finally went to a specialist in Manhattan. The point that I'm trying to make is most average doctors, they don't really know rare diseases. That's a specialty. Okay, and that's $1 trillion a year problem for health insurance companies. Now, enter a company that is working to solve that problem. Okay, what they've done is they've developed an AI platform that actually insurance companies are using to help run through their patient files to see which patients have which rare disease they have, so they don't keep going from doctor to doctor to doctor. Now, this company, this AI software company that is doing this, they're partnered with NVIDIA. Great, terrific. Another partner with NVIDIA, but that's a serious thing. More importantly, they have a CEO who has experience running, building big businesses. Very important. I like experience. I don't want to hand my money to a kid who's never driven the car before around the block. I'm going to hand my keys to the kid. I want to make sure you have experience. The only inexperienced person I hand my keys to is my daughter. And you can bet your butt I sat with her and made her drive around for months and months and months and months before I handed her the keys to let her drive my car alone. So when it comes to managing my money, and let's face it, when we invest in a company, we're asking somebody basically to manage our money. And in this case, the CEO of this small startup has experience. He understands that means everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. You want a CEO who has experience. So this small company solving $1 trillion problem has partnered with NVIDIA to do it, has a CEO who has prior experience with an exit, successful startup, and is doing revenue right now, is expected to do $18 million or so in the next 12 months. These are the kinds of deals you want to be involved in. These are the kinds of deals. What I have learned through friends of mine that have had cancer, and my sister-in-law is a pediatric oncologist. What I've learned about cancer is this. This is very interesting. Most mom and pop doctors or local doctors, they don't really know how to deal with cancer. So basically, there seems to be a local cancer center that really feeds information on how to treat people to all the local places that need them, okay? This is what I'm learning now as my friends are going through this. So a central local brain that feeds out to all the doctors who are interacting with cancer, which is great. This new company is looking to be like the brain for best practices for rare diseases. And if you are an HMO and you're spending, we'll call it one HMO, let's say United Health is spending $100 billion a year on that assembly line for rare diseases, you will pay a company like this to run through your files for anybody that's been to a doctor's appointment for more than 2 or 3 times where they haven't been able to diagnose the problem for this person. Run that through AI. Why don't you take a crack and tell me what this is? Because the doctor's looking at this person, they haven't figured it out. That is going to save big money. That is a big deal. No wonder health insurance companies have signed up with this company. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm surprised that they're still doing an offering. This is a great deal. This is a terrific deal. This is the deal I'm putting my money into. Get on this webinar on Tuesday at 1 o'clock. You are going to thank me. I'll speak to you Monday. Have a wonderful weekend.